Hello and welcome to episode 1.5 of the Uneducated Nuffies.
What happened to last week's episode?
From memory, I believe the file may have been corrupted after something that happened on Saturday night. I blame the current football club for this. There may or may not have been some anger towards this, but I believe we are trying to recover it. You're trying to recover it. I'm not trying to recover it.
I'm trying to find it. I'm looking really hard right now, actually.
So we're going to give it a second go around. He may be happy this week. I don't want to talk about footy this week, but we're here. Let's get on to it. I want to go home.
Let's start. How was your weekend, mate?
Shit house. It was fucking shit house. Oh, I swear to God, the current football club are trying to do stuff to me. They're going to either give me a heart attack, an aneurysm, or send me to the ER. Because my God, I can't do it, Jonty. I can't.
It's funny because it's great because not only 4 weeks ago, this was exactly the opposite way around.
We're frauds.
We both blamed Dan Gorringe for the downfall of Carlton.
Mitch McGovern could have kicked it.
So anything else happened on the weekend? Or?
Fuck Mitch. No, not fuck Mitch McGovern. I love you, Mitch McGovern. Fuck Mark Pitney, you fucking old cunt.
Anything else happened on the weekend other than Carlton?
I think that was the main issue, drinking my sorrows away. There's a bit of sports here and there, but a lot of drinking sorrows away. But there has been some sport over the weekend. We have noticed.
There has, and I'll come back to my weekend when we get to a certain segment, because I need to explain the whole reasoning behind it at once. But basically, I went over to his house to watch Collingwood Carlton. Scott Pendlebury's 400th, the GOAT, the greatest Collingwood player of all time.
My step cousin.
Every time.
By law. We'll talk about this down the line.
Anyway, so I got to watch Scott Pendlebury's 400th. I felt great. Someone else didn't feel so great. We'll come back to explain more of that in a certain segment. I'm not going to say which one yet.
Do we have a sting? No.
No.
We're going to cover, obviously, a lot of football to cover over the weekend. Another week of Olympics has happened. A lot more golds, a lot more bronzes, and silvers as well.
Oh, well, that's the money you want at most, isn't it? It's worth more, isn't it?
I feel like you're just happy to be there and sleeping in those beautiful beds they're living in, those cardboard boxes.
Oh, should we also do a clip where we say it's the anti-sex bed? There hasn't been 20 million...
It's not an anti-sex bed. The Olympics said 300,000 condoms. I think I heard the maths was each person got 12 condoms per day to use. I want to get an invite to this place. I want to be there. I'll use them. I don't care who it's on.
I think this is the most transformative clip of the Olympic sex beds. where you know what? Get him there. He has more to gain from that.
I'll perform in one event. I will find out. I might convert and maybe we'll do handball. I'll join the handball team.
What about male pattern baldness?
No. Because the problem is that's an unfair competition. Yeah, it's a guaranteed win. And it's not balding, it's receding. Get it right.
Should we move on?
Let's move on to the footy.
What a weekend of footy it was. Leading into the final series where anyone can bloody make it. And we got the start off of a double header of 3 shit teams and 1 good one.
I believe that they couldn't have picked a better 2 games for a Friday night. Pick the only team who's in form, put them against the team who has one of their blokes who doesn't have ribs or spleen, and Max Gawn, who's playing with a broken leg practically. And
he's still their best player.
Come on, AFL. You should have put Hawthorn on. They won a Friday night game. Or even Carlton Collingwood. That's a Saturday night game. That deserves Saturday. But come on, AFL. That was shit house. What are you giving us?
Now, the number one question coming out of this game is, are the Doggies the number one form team in the comp? It's between them and Brisbane. They're the only 2 teams at this current point. Other than maybe Port, you could question Port, and we'll come back to Port. But they're the 2 teams that have stood out in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think the Doggies have really sort of changed their momentum. They were just trotting along, just getting wins and losses here. Probably having a bit more losses than they should have had. I think everyone expected them to have a really good year this year. But they've really turned it around. Their midfield's phenomenal. This Rory Lobb move down back. I've been hearing all Australian rumours for him, but he's a changed man. His TikTok form at the start of the year was showing that his wife said he was only be a VFL player for the rest of his career, but Mate, he's made a move. And guess what? The dog is going to lose him at the end of the year.
Well, maybe not at this point. Maybe if he makes his full switch, he might like it down back. We don't know yet.
We need Sam Draper to come in and confirm it and just get in trouble again, especially with the dogs.
And to be honest, this has also shown Buku Khamis has stepped up, one of our mates' favourite players.
We love Buku. No reason specifically.
He just, he plays footy really well.
So where do Melbourne go from here? It seems like they've almost written out the season. Obviously, they still mathematically can play finals. But do they look at it now and think, do they set up thinking, let's look to next year? And do they have enough players to be able to go forward next year with the possible move of Clayton Oliver might be moving clubs? Is Petrarca and Gawn going to be able to run it back together? Are they going to keep all their main players there?
Well, number one, the big issue for me is their backline. They're not able to defend properly, and Stephen May is 31. He's not a spring chicken. He's an old man now, and you can see it at this second half of the season. He's having a shocking second half of the season. Jake Lever's too injury prone to really run it back each year. Tomlinson keeps on getting dropped after having his best games each week. So there's no real consistency down back. Their midfield, obviously, Oliver after last season, there was questions if he would move or not. Adelaide was a big one. In the end, didn't happen, signed the contract. Are they regretting it now? They could have got a first round pick for Clayton Oliver. Now they could have probably gotten a decent level pick. Probably 2 picks, honestly. And rebuild, because they're going to need to, unless Gawn is adamant they have to contend again.
I think that they still can get something for Clayton Oliver. I still think he's a very valued player, and although he's had a down year this year, he has shown in spurts that he is that player that Melbourne still think that he is. But I think it's more looking, you're exactly right. Do they look to obviously start a rebuild now, try and beat the run? Do they move Gawn on? Do they send him to Carlton for Mark Pitney? I think it's a great offer.
That's a terrible offer.
I think that's
an awful offer.
A brilliant offer.
I think if that was ever happen, I think there may be genuine riots.
I think
the MCC will be torn to shreds.
Imagine a midfield of Gawn, Petrarca, they already exist. Gawn, Cripps, and Walsh. That would finally bring Carlton a flag. Instead of waiting another 60 years to win one.
No, you have to have a forward line that is consistent.
Okay, we're not going to know. We're not talking about this. I'm not having this.
We are actually soon. We'll come back to it though. Doggies though, they are one of the form teams, but they cannot kick in front of goal. 20 points. Jamara, 2 goals, 6. This team could be the greatest team on earth.
I genuinely think Jamara Ugahagen was already thinking about the Emerson on Saturday night when he was kicking for goals. I've seen him line out in front of there. I'm like, what is this performance? You could have won by 100 points if one player, 2-6. It baffles me that someone who's getting paid a lot of money can miss like that. You remind me, that was like a Levi Casbolt-esque performance.
Well, I was actually considering doing after that a segment talking about the worst performances in front of goal. Jamar would likely be up there.
I think he's got 1, 2, and 3 this season.
He's
with Ben King at 4 and 5.
Maybe Kerno at 6.
Oh, no. Kerno
actually, no. Jeremy Cameron had 6 behinds in one game, didn't he?
I think Jesse Hogan did too, maybe.
Well,
Speculations.
Speculation. We might look at a different time. If they were really to convert every single shot, they would actually be a very unstoppable team.
I think they've got the pieces down forward with Norton, Ugahagen, Waitman. Is Waitman's back in? Yeah?
Yeah, Waitman's back in.
So that 3 good key forwards that they can utilise. They got the artillery. It's just converting with that artillery.
Don't forget Sam Darcy as well.
Oh, fuck. How are they not winning the flag? How are they not... Why has his team been so shit all year?
It's because I think we're not... the defence is not great. Liam Jones is hyped up a lot.
Carlton goat.
But when he was your key back going into the year, it's not a great sign. No.
But look, they had a very good performance, and congratulations, doggies. You've hit form at the right time. We'll see how you go. I hope you get knocked out in straight sets. I don't want to play you guys in finals. You scare me. Let's move on to the next game. Let's not move on to the next game.
No, we have to. Scott Pendlebury's 400th game, and he does it continuing his good record against Carlton. He's 23-8. That's ridiculous against one team.
I just don't want to talk about it.
I'll talk about it then.
It was arguably the worst game, but also the best game of the year.
I wouldn't say... I reckon the first one was a better game. The first Collingwood-Carlton game. Because it was the big moment that actually did define the game on the scoreboard.
I think I was putting chopsticks in my eyes when I was watching the game.
Yeah.
It was atrocious to watch. The fact that Carlton decided to just not rock up till 3/4 time and then decide to shove in the fourth quarter, give it a good run, get so close. McGovern has a shot for goal in the siren, and then just all hope that's ever existed just gone.
The moment that really started though was when DeGoey got injured in that.
Yes, I think
end stretch.
DeGoey was a very key player, obviously throughout the game. He was dominating at points, and then once he went out, it obviously left a gap that they were missing.
Something that we don't have properly is our midfield. Just like every team, you have Cripps. Doggies have Bontempelli or Liberatore, depending on who wants to be. Is just someone who's going to bull their way through. We don't have that unless DeGoey's playing. Chris can sometimes play that role, and I expect him to play that this weekend. But we lack it, and when we're playing against a midfield who is very good at clearances, we need someone like that. It showed in that final quarter, and you came back very well. But
100%. But I think the issue that Carlton had all night was in the forward line, with Charlie and Harry only kicking one goal between the two of them. And as I've been hearing from this Nuffy the past 3 days, saying Billy Frampton is the GOAT for any Charlie Kerner's goal scoring streak.
He is the greatest player of all time. Him and Nathan Kruger make my life much more exciting because both of them don't know how to play football, and yet they are consistently my favourite player to watch.
It was very hard to watch, and as much as I've tried to defend it, and I'm going to still defend it because Charlie got double teamed a lot, Billy Frampton did do an okay job at playing against Charlie Curnow.
He did a great job. Billy had not his best performance. He had some great performances at the start of the year.
But have Collingwood left it too late to push for finals?
Yeah, obviously. We could still make it, and I have belief, but we have to go to Sydney to play Sydney, which, after being bashed, absolutely bashed, they're going to be wanting to play again. I still think we can do it because we know how to play them now with how Port played them, because we can beat Port pretty easily, in my opinion.
I'm just trying to figure out what Carlton do next. I don't know where we go. We've got Hawthorn this week at the G on Sunday. I'll be at that game if you want to come get photos. But I was about to say something very bad. I'm not going to say that. But I think it's going to be our most important game of the year will be this week.
It's probably your 2 grand final.
Yep. I 100% agree, because if you lose this, you risk not playing finals. If you win it, I think that pretty much, I would say, guarantees us playing finals if we beat Hawthorn. Considering our run home is West Coast and St Kilda, that should both be winning those games.
But at this point in time, do you know if they can go and do that?
I still have faith that we can. We've proven it throughout the year, but I need to have just... Give me one game before we get to those last 2. Just prove that we're better than Hawthorn, and then I can feel confident going to finals that we can at least compete.
Now, the Brownlow medal is obviously coming up soon, and there's 2 players in this match who are front runners. One didn't stand out too much, one did. Is this Patrick Cripps Brownlow to lose?
Oh, I think it is. I think the way he started the year off not like as a standout player. I think everyone looked at Heaney, and I think Noah Anderson were the 2 standouts at the start of the season. But the way he's since about round 8, that he's shown up every week, and I believe he's almost got votes probably almost every game in those since round 8. He's just really taken the next step this season. He's really shown that he's one of the comp's best players, and I think he's one of the best leaders in the comp still, and his play style and his ability to win the ball is second to none.
He really has put Carlton on his back. Even if they aren't winning these matches, the only reason why they're in these matches is because he's putting them on his back. Like, Sam Walsh may have been a ball getter in that game, but he wasn't the reason why we're coming back. Like, the impact he's having for you guys is immense.
He's been phenomenal, and I hope he continues to form for many years to come. Whilst we're in premiership contention, we should be in, but obviously it's not a one-man horse. Please, Carlton, give Cripper some help. He can't keep carrying us on our shoulders each week.
Sack Vossi, honestly.
No, we're not going to do that yet. Maybe if we lose to Hawthorn.
No, actually, I want to quickly address something. This was a funny thing I had. So I was talking to you about this on the way. On my way home, my aux cord wasn't working. So I turned on the radio and I put on Talkback radio. And they decided to play the press conference that Vossi had about halfway through me listening. And every single call past that was everyone just going, "Why the fuck is Vossi saying that? Like, we should be winning these matches easily. Like, and we should be having to fight back." And I was like, guys...
Can I bring you back to the Essendon game last year when there was talks to have Vossi get sacked and the turnaround he had? I think we still need to show faith in Vossi because he has put us in good positions. I think we're having a lull at the moment, but I feel like there will be a turnaround, and I think that's this week. I hope it's this week, but let's not jump the gun this early.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you live now.
Thank goodness. I've had enough.
That's the end of it. That's the end of it for this week.
I'm not looking forward to hearing it again. Please.
Oh, well, we've got to go to the next part. Nino. There's been a murder.
Oh, yeah, there has been a murder. Adelaide police are straight to the ground because, my God, Port Adelaide have put on a masterclass and pretty much assassinated the Sydney Football Club.
This is the worst run by a number one team ever. Like, 5 out of the last 6 games they've lost. They've not looked like themselves for the last probably 8-9 weeks, especially since the bye. The bye has been when they last were looking okay.
I saw a stat today on the internet that said the last time a team who was top of the table lost by 100 points was 1945. I don't know if that's exactly correct. It's around that era, but it's been almost a decade since a team who is top of the table have lost by 100 points.
I mean, a century, no, mate.
A century.
I was going to say, a decade's not that long, mate.
The reason I'm a nuffy.
But this is generally... I don't know what Horse is doing up in Sydney because they just have not been able to show up for the last few weeks. But on the other end, Ken Hinkley, what the fuck is going on? He, only a few weeks ago, like just before the St Kilda game, was begging to be sacked, basically, at that point. And now he's pulling out the biggest win of the season.
I generally think he could be the most unluckiest coach if he gets sacked this year. He's led a team to pretty much top 4. They might lose another prelim again, wouldn't surprise me. But I wouldn't say he does it each year. He always gets in a bit of flary waters, gets called, gets sacked, and then produces a masterclass game each year. And it happened this weekend.
Now, this other thing is Port making their run too early. Now, they had a terrible start to the season compared to their usual standards. They had a good start, then they lost to us, then they had a big patch. And everyone thought, oh, well, Port are falling off. Get to mid-season, Ken Hinkley should be sacked. And now they come into the final stretch and they're one of the top 4 teams going into it, power rankings wise.
I think they've timed it well because I think this is the time you want to be hitting form, and especially like a win like that really lifts the team's morale and feels like they can do it. And it feels like they got such a good list that they should be doing this already. Obviously, the coach Hinkley, that's a different argument because there's always been a lot of talk around him. But the list is phenomenal and they should be doing this anyway. Maybe not winning by 100 points, for say, but at least beating these teams and really showing their dominance.
That's also another discussion we're quickly going to have. Is their midfield the best in the comp? You have Bont, Trelaw, Liberatoria, Doggies. You have Butters, Rosie, and Willem Drew, who are having an elite run right now, and Ollie Wines can come into that.
I think they're up there. I wouldn't say they got the best midfield in the comp. I still think Sydney, when they play, have the best midfield in the comp. But obviously, there's Spurs when you have it and you don't. And I think they're up there though. I do believe, but I'm more thinking Sydney right now are their players more thinking about individual accolades at the moment and how they can get Brownlow votes rather than winning games? Because they've had such a, not easy run, but they've had been so dominant and been at the top ladder for so long, they don't really know anything different. Is this like, have they really sort of found a block in the road, for say?
Well, you look at most of the issues they have had this season. Most of the players' performances have dropped after they signed a new contract. Goulden, I don't know if it's confirmed if his contract has been signed or not. He's probably the only player that's not playing to that. But Warner hasn't signed a new contract, and he's playing okay-ish. McDonald signed a new contract, not playing well. Hayward's all right, but new contract is dipped in form. You look at it, most of their team where they've signed a new contract, they've fallen off quickly. And that probably could be the reason why they're not as hungry anymore to win, because they don't need to worry about their security anymore. They're more worried about, okay, we're settled now. I don't need to worry as much. That's my kind of thought on that. But I don't think it's individual accolades, because Heaney's probably fallen out. Obviously, even with the suspension, you look at how he's been playing recently, he probably isn't in contention anymore.
No, he's really sort of dropped off those last couple of weeks. And it's shown in his game and the way they're playing.
Yeah, so I think it's probably just the turn of going from a hungry team that wants to try and get new contracts, or at least get some interest from someone else, to now a team that lacks hunger.
It'll be interesting to see how they turn this around before the end of the season.
Now, Essendon fans, are you edging?
I'm still baffled by that performance. Like, I'm still in awe. Where the hell did they pull that from?
They were not completely dead. They were only a little bit behind. But then they decided to let it choke a little bit. And they come back with one of their best performances in the quarter.
I'm still trying to figure out, was Freo just decide to stop playing and we're just shit? Or Essendon really, when they can do it, can they turn it on and be an actual threat?
I don't think they're an actual threat. Let's be honest. They can't play one quarter each week and still be playing finals. It's a lot like how you guys lost to us. That should have been their fate. Should have been it. But Freo, at the same time, they're shaky. They always have been, and they always will be. And so at this situation where they had to try and hold on, they fold.
I still think they were very positive the way they played on the weekend. They had really good spurts. I think Jai Miss was very good. Their forward line was clicking. I think they lost Tracy during the game for a bit, were hurt, but I feel like they've still got enough pieces, and this it's a game that will obviously hurt them ranking. They could have been top 4 at the end of the round. Obviously, they've dropped out now, but it's sort of like that could have been a defining game to say, all right, we're real contenders, where now they're like, oh, we're still in there. We're just going to now win it the hard way.
Yeah. Well, that's always kind of been Freo's way. They always have gone the hard way. There's a reason why they haven't really been a premiership favourite all year, except for that one little patch in the middle of the year. And it's because every time they have a week where they look impressive, the next week they have a week where they look out of it. I don't think they're out of it completely, but with the way they play consistently, it's inconsistently consistent. That's the best way to put it.
I think, they've still got a lot of promise, and I feel like they still can do damage in finals. It's just more of the matter is how much damage they're actually going to do. Whereas you look at someone like Essendon, who have just held on just to play in finals. I think many people would have written them off if they lost to Freo this weekend. Obviously, with a run home, getting Gold Coast in Melbourne, what they should be winning now, and then having to play Brisbane and Sydney your final 2 games. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can pull off what many people would call a miracle.
It would be a miracle, and it's definitely going to be a testing one, because Gold Coast, they're let's be honest, they're out. They're not winning in Melbourne. They're not going to win in finals. Essendon, though, do they play Sydney in Melbourne? They do. I
believe they play Brisbane in Melbourne, and then Sydney's up at the Gabba. Not Gabba,
So.
they're CG, I believe.
I think it's actually at
Maybe it is. Maybe they're both at Melbourne, but I still think they're both very tough games.
They're both games. Yeah, they're both games which you probably don't want to be the team playing them, because you don't want to be out of the 8 and looking in like we are. Essendon, I'm sorry, this isn't the year. It's going to be too much of a trek to try and get back in with how good the teams are in the 8 right now.
I feel like they got a very good list that is growing, and they got a lot of promise. I think Durham is a star.
Oh, he is a star.
Same with Nick Martin. There's got Merritt's obviously contending for the Brownlow and All-Australian again. I think they're getting the pieces. I think their back line is a little bit weak and can grow. Same with their forward line. I think they're a key forward and a key defender away from being a dominant force in the league. But they're looking promising. I think they thought the year was last year. Obviously, it turned out it wasn't. This year was a similar scenario where they were in that top 4 for a long time. They were second till about round 13 and then obviously dropped out. It's just they've got to find that form back end of the season rather than just front end of the season.
Well, yeah, this is the exact same as last season. Last season, they had a great start to the year and then slowly trickled out. And this time it's lasted a bit longer. Essendon fans have had a little bit more positivity until about midway through the season. But yeah, I honestly, this is going to sound a bit delusional probably for them. Would Stengel be a good option for him in the off-season?
I think considering Stengel's re-signed with Geelong for 4 years, I feel like he's not going to leave now.
Well, that's probably the truth now. But at the time, would he be a good option for him?
He would have been a great option. I still think they can still look at the market. There are still a couple good options that you can go out for. It's just now trying to find those right ones. I think, although his form says no, I think they should be looking at someone like a Ben Brown maybe. And he's not getting much game at Melbourne, and he isn't really suited for that Melbourne system. But I feel like he's still a good forward, and you put him in the right system. Maybe Essendon could be the right place for him to regain his form.
He could be, but you look at the last Melbourne recruit they got, Sam Wiedemann. It didn't quite work out for him.
Yeah, maybe you are right.
But look, Essendon, congrats. This is probably
your last win of the year. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh no, you'll be Gold Coast, but
we'll be at that game as well. We'll be in the box. We'll be doing a bit of a seat up. I'll be watching it with a mate.
Now, each year we are going to be introducing the MTO Medal. Now, the MTO Medal is our version of the Brownlow, except not as corrupt because
it's a lot more prestigious.
Yes. So the winner of the first season won't get it this time. Because I'm not having Paddy Cripps have the Paddy Cripps medal.
No, because I'm disagreeing. I think this is going to be fair.
Okay, wait. How about we change it each year? So each year, whoever wins it.
Yes, whoever wins it each year gets the medal named after them. But we have gone back for the last 21 rounds, adjudicated evenly. There is subject to change because someone doesn't like who's voted. But I think it's been very fair.
I haven't got to make any decision on most of the votes yet.
Yeah, because you've been too busy. I've been trying to work on this show. I've been trying to work on this show. I have prestige.
I have a job.
Yeah, so do I. It's a show. So I've been working on getting this graded up for that, and we're going to may subject to change, but there are a couple of leads, but we're going to go through the round and see how some of the players went.
Now, let's start off. Doggies Melbourne. We went 1 vote Max Gawn, 2 votes Adam Treloar, and 3 votes Marcus Bontempelli.
And the other game on Friday night, we had West Coast versus Gold Coast. We gave 1 vote to Jake Waterman, 2 votes to Jack Darling, and 3 votes to Jared Witts.
Now, the third game of the weekend, Kanga, Roo versus Richmond. Nick Larkey, 1 vote, Tristan Cherry, 2 votes, and Luke Davies-Uniacke getting 3 votes.
Right on to you guys. We next go to Geelong versus Adelaide. We gave 1 vote to Riley Thilthorpe. 2 votes to Tom Stewart and 3 votes to the 6th goaler, Jeremy Cameron.
Now, the only game that mattered this weekend, 1 vote, Scott Pendlebury in his 400th game. 2 votes goes the way of, Will Hoskin-Elliott. That is forgettable as he is in the coaches' votes. And number 3, Paddy Cripps gets 3 votes.
Good boy, Paddy Cripps. We still love your work. We then go on to the next game with Port Adelaide Massacre at the Adelaide Oval. We gave 1 vote to Zach Butters, 2 votes to Dan Houston, and 3 votes to Willem Drew.
Now, the Giants versus Hawk. 1 vote went to Jesse Hogan, 2 votes to Carl Amon, and 3 votes to Lockie Whitfield.
We then move on to the miracle at the MCG, Essendon vs Fremantle. We gave Andrew Brayshaw 1 vote, Zach Merritt with the 2 votes, and Hayden Young 3 votes.
And then the final game of the round, St Kilda's absolute bashing from Brisbane. 1 vote goes to Lockie Neal, 2 votes Zach Bailey, and 3 votes to Hugh McCluggage.
So that then leads the top 5 in the rankings after round 25. In tie of 4th place, we have Adam Treloar and Zach Merritt on 22 points. In 3rd place, we have Lockie Neal on 23 points. In 2nd place on 24 votes, we have Nick Dacos, and top of the table on 28 points is Patrick Cripps.
Now, we will have all these votes out online properly soon. Once we have gone over all the votes, make sure it's not corrupt because we don't want any corruption.
It will be subject to change, but I do believe it should be very similar, but we will find out.
It's France Olympics. It is.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
What? I'm part French. I'm allowed to say that.
Oh, give me a croissant.
Mate. Anyway, from the City of Love, Paris, we have the 2024 Olympics. It's a second week, day 9. Well, that's the last time we have checked.
Yes, as of recording today, day 9.
And Australia, we sit 4th. This has been a good Olympics campaign.
They have been very good. Normally, the pools are our most dominant form, and we have seen that with, I believe, there has been 7 gold medals just from the pool so far, with many more silvers and bronze. I think it was 19 medals in total we've received in the pool.
That is our strong suit. We are a country that, well, if we want to leave like Harold Holt did, we have to swim.
We pride ourselves on the Harold Holt after when he drowned back in whatever year he drowned, and then naming a pool after him. We're like, today we're going to dominate the pool. And guess what? There was a major period where we were beating the Yanks.
Yeah, and we still are kind of doing it this year.
Well, we were. Bleacher Report reported differently. They go off
total medals,
total medals, whereas the Olympics, it's not off total America, you Yanks. It's off gold medals. You know the ones that we get for finishing first place?
No, not medals.
They're mental. It's fine.
Well, on the other good note, Jessica Fox, congrats on being the most decorated canoe slalom athlete of all time.
She's been very dominant. She finally got her first gold medal in the woman C1 after she'd been trying to win it for years, and then went back to back with the kayak, the K1. Winning gold in both C1 and K1 this year.
Is she the GOAT?
For the women's, yes. I think she has really sort of livened up the way it is for canoe slalom or kayak slalom in Australia. But she's been a very big advocate. I think Australians get around her a lot because of how decorated and well she goes.
Well, she was our flag bearer this year.
She was. She very much was. We also like to congratulate Kaylee McEwen for continuing her fine form in the pool. With every event she's ever competed at the Olympics, she has won a medal in. Well, that is very impressive.
Now, the other one I want to talk about quickly is the funniest story for me every single time is fucking Matt Ebden. I grew up playing tennis. I was in like regional Bendigo Gold tennis. I would go to the Australian Open every single year. This bloody guy was on the wild cards. He's 36 now, and he's winning a gold at the Olympics.
Good on him. He's like the guy. He's the worst player in singles you could ever imagine. Never gets past the first or second round. But my God, when it comes to doubles, he's like the Roger Federer of doubles.
Yeah. Also, John Pierce, congrats as well for the doubles gold. But yeah, Matt Ebden, he got in the singles for the Olympics. Guess where he finished? Well, who he lost to?
In the singles?
Yeah.
Probably like someone like on a Sinner's not a fan. Maybe Djokovic.
Oh, it was Djokovic.
The more you know.
See, that explains pretty much every single time.
There's still many more events to go for the Australians with the athletics starting now. We got a silver and bronze as well in the high jump overnight. Well done to those girls out there. As well, we've got the Boomers are through to the quarterfinals and will be playing Serbia on Tuesday night. I think this will be out by then. Hopefully Australia have knocked off Serbia and Nikola Jokic. And if they progress, they will be facing either Brazil or the USA in the semi-finals.
Please be Brazil. Brazil.
If it's Brazil, I'll be losing my nuts. As well, the Opals will be playing host to France in their final game in the group stage to hopefully book a spot in the finals. They haven't been very dominant for, say, they're only 1-1. If they can knock off top of the table France, that would be very impressive.
It would be also to beat the French on their home turf. It would be nice.
Give them a croissant.
Now, let's be honest though. What we always care about is water polo. Now, they both have guaranteed finals berths, which means, hooray, we get to watch more of it.
It is one of the most phenomenal sports to watch. If you haven't had a chance to watch, please give it a watch. It is phenomenal how much endurance and strength they have. I believe they're called, like, the men are called the Crocs and the women are something similar to that. But I've been watching a bit of it. They've been phenomenal in the pool, finishing second. I think the women are actually top of the group. The men lost one game to Spain, but they knocked off powerhouse Hungary last night, and it was phenomenal.
We might be seeing gold in the water polo.
It would be phenomenal to see and double in there. And there'll be many more athletics to go as well this weekend.
Now, I always see, and this is really inspired, NFL Throwbacks a while back had the Mount Rushmore of every single team. Now, Australia obviously doesn't have a Mount Rushmore, so I'm going to call it something else. You'll see the segment anyway. But I wanted to go the athletes who could do a bender and then play the next day without looking like they've been through anything for the last 72 hours. Now, these are the players who you go, my God, they were definitely doing something. Allegedly. I can't say they were.
This is all speculation.
All speculation, except definitely like 2 of them, because they've definitely admitted it millions of times.
Crushed up Panadol sounds pretty fine to me.
Now that is good leeway in my honourable mentions. Wayne Carey, he definitely would just come off a bender and then play. Now, I did 2 AFL players and 2 football/soccer players, so I wanted to also give my shout out to Johnny Manziel, aka Johnny Football. If you know, you know. He had a lot of fun in college football. Always did. Mr. Football. And then Shane Warne, rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He was the man who could do no wrong.
On the piss, maybe a bit different.
20 beers, 5 darts, and be bowling 30 overs the next day.
He could easily do that. So, Shane Warne, if this was a full sport one, I would give him on the Mount Rushmore. Now, let's start off. Number 1, one of the GOATs of football, Diego Maradona. Now, this man is already well known for doing cocaine. He would have cocaine in his booths and everything. And so you just know that each week he's coming in absolutely mental off his mind. The way he played, he had to be on at least 4 lines like each time. Like, it's ridiculous how much lines he would be on. And unfortunately, that may cause some issues later in life. Second up, Paul Gascoigne. Now, if you don't know Paul Gascoigne, he was an English footballer. And he has some pretty funny stories. Now, there's one I heard, it's on TikTok a while back. Basically, one morning he's gone out for the night and he's locked himself out of his house. And I think he eventually gets himself back in and he realizes, there's no food. And so instead of going to a shop or something or going to like an all night thing, he decides, I'll just break into my mate's house and go make a sandwich. So he breaks into the house. The guy's wife is hysterical because she doesn't know what's going on. The guy goes downstairs, goes, "Oi, Paul, what are you doing?" Because he realizes it's Paul. He goes, "I'm just making a sandwich." And then as soon as he makes a sandwich, eats it, goes out.
Oh, Lord. That's phenomenal.
100% on the piss. And Paul Gascoigne.
Never in doubt.
Yeah. Next up, one of my favourite players of all time. Looks like a Resi playing, was a GOAT. Dane Swan.
Rat Pack era. All of the Rat Pack really were on a bender each weekend. Alan Didak especially. He was hanging out with all of the underworld figures during his time. But Dane Swan is the one you always knew. Malthouse was just like, yeah, go over bender. Come back. You'll be fine. But the one reason I know he could is because the way he played in that Anzac Day against Essendon, where he looked like it's either 2012 or 2013, looked like he just came from McDonald's eating like 20 million burgers. Goes in, has his best performance all year. I know for a fact that Dane Swan would be able to do anything. Where do you reckon Swanee's stomping ground was back in the day? Like, where would he have gone on the piss to? Would he have been a Revs local?
No, I reckon that'd be too swanky for him. It'd have to be somewhere rough, like
definitely the Swan.
Oh,
he could do the Swan. Just named after himself.
He could do the Swan. But I don't know if he would be able to do. I don't know. I don't know exactly where, but it has to be rough.
I don't think he's a bit of a Harlow guy. He's too upper class for him.
No, definitely not there.
Probably Royal. That's probably where he was.
Nah. Let's talk about the Royal better. And the last one, we all know who it is. One of the greatest players of all time. Loves dancing, as we found out recently.
Very good dancer.
Ben Cousins. Now, enough said really about that.
I think you've summed it up very well there.
Ben Cousins, but Let's go through it. It was in the 2005 team that did a load of drugs and won.
No, not Chris Judd though. We love Chris
Not
Judd.
not him, but most of the West Coast team. The West Coast team was just given free license.
The coach was on it as well.
I'm not
Would have
surprised.
been on it.
He would have been. Allegedly. There you go. Say
Allegedly.
this.
All speculations.
All speculation. They were just allowed to do whatever they wanted. And the Prince of Perth himself, Ben Cousins, he was definitely every month absolutely unloading himself every week, just giving it his all. And we all know where that went down the line. Absolutely crazy. I hope he's found himself now. And he's now on Channel 7 dancing.
I wonder how much they're paying him to get him going. He'll be on the big bucks.
Top level talent, that. But they're my Mount Rushmore of being able to go on absolute bender and then playing the next day and you wouldn't notice.
That's a very good list. I was very intrigued. I was wondering where you're going at first, but it was a very good list to hear. And they're all big names, obviously a lot of backstory. And I would be not surprised if I saw them at local at halftime knocking back a can. Now for my favourite segment of the week. We here at the Uneducated Nuffies nominate 5 melons of the week.
Now, the melon of the week is basically what you don't want. We don't want to step on anyone's toes, but if you're on this list, you should really get a grip.
I think there's a lot of questions asking if you make this list, and each year from this time all the way to next August, there will be a table of such. And then if you're a top of the melon of the year, you'll be receiving 100 melons from us. Now
that's obviously not legally binding.
It will be. We'll make it. We'll put it into law.
And if there's one incident that's severely worse than like someone who's been on there 3 or 4 times, we may consider them more of a melon.
Just
don't be a melon.
The best way to not be on this list is just don't be a melon. Don't make stupid decisions. But we have gone and tallied our top 5 melons of the week. And we'll start off at number 5, the North Melbourne fan base. Come on. You beat Richmond. I'm hearing it's a rugasm, flag 2025. Come on. You just beat Richmond. You didn't even look good beating Richmond. Just pipe down. You get the number 2 pick, take it, and move on. It's nothing to celebrate here.
To be fair, we have one of the most insufferable North fans as one of our best mates. So it's kind of hard not to hear these things. I don't think everyone's saying this, but I think there's a lot of optimism that you're playing top 4 footy next year. You're not. Let's quickly...
Well, your fans are either insufferable or all in the retirement home. I think majority of them are in retirement home. So just chirp down. You'll be in your cemeteries in a couple of years.
All right, now number 4. This is where I need to explain back from earlier. So, as I said the other night, I was at my good mate Ethan's house to watch Collingwood Carlton. And I need to quickly explain, his whole family is Carlton. Now, that's normal. Families normally go for the same team.
Correct.
But his sister is especially nuffy. And everyone else got really nuffy in that final quarter, including him. I've never heard someone's balls retract inside themselves so hard in my life. It went from being like 3 goals to 2 goals down, and I hear, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh, I may or may not have got very excited and giddy, to say the least.
You got very giddy,
but it's the passion I show for this club.
He got out of his chair and started screaming, "Oh my god, we're going to come back, we're going to come back, we're going to come back." Goes, runs out, sees his sister, goes, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." Comes back in going, "Yay!" It all went downhill after that kick.
I'm just a passionate fan. But
yeah.
So, again, we know how it ended up, and now I'm a depressed Carlton fan.
Yeah. So his whole family walks in for the final kick because they were on a delay. They all wanted to watch it live. And I've never seen the life drain from a face more than when Mitch McGovern hits it out in the full. I turn around, look at Ethan, he's just there like... Now, I was really happy because...
I believe, if the maths were correct, I didn't move from the spot. I didn't speak or do anything for 2 minutes straight. I was just standing there just watching the TV.
Now, I would have given this 1. This is a 1 worthy offence.
But I disagreed. I think I'm happy to take this week for Melon of the Week, but not number one.
But yeah, this was a pretty bad offence.
It was. But we'll move on to number 3. And I'm calling the USA men's basketball team Melons. So we all know it was about a year or two ago, a guy named Noah Lyles, men's athlete, win 100 metre, 200 metre sprints for the USA. He called out the NBA for calling himself the world champions. He goes, the world champions of what? The United States. And that was very much like he hit a nerve with the USA basketball. And so he was running the Olympics. He I think came second or third in the heats. He sort of didn't run as hard as he was. So he makes the finals, and the whole of the men's USA basketball team decided to rock up, hoping for his downfall, that when he loses, they can scrutinise him and then tell him, you can't even be a world champion in your own sport. And guess what Noah Lyles goes and does? He goes and wins the 100 metre sprint. It's not even his preferred sprint. He's a 200 metre sprinter. He wins the 100 metre sprint and shuts up the USA men's basketball team. So for the US men's basketball team, for rocking up, ready to give shit to Noah Lyles, and then backfire on you, you're a Melon.
Turn it up. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, copyright.
Sorry, my bad.
Sorry, Fox.
Sorry. Anyway, number 2. Now, we touched on this earlier. The Sydney Football Club and horse, John Longmire, you are both Melons. Well, all together as one. One was obviously, how do you lose by 100 points to a team that hasn't done that in years? They are the ones that get bashed normally. And number 2, what the fuck is going on with your streak? 5 out of your last 6 games you lose. What is the point of playing football good for half a year and then just going on vacation for second half of the year? It's the Essendon way, not the Sydney way.
It's very surprising to see them in this sort of form. I think not many people expected it. Everyone was like almost written them into the finals and the granny this year, and then they've sort of hit this slump. But I think giving them the Melon of the Week, it's a fair assumption, but they're not number one. Number one this week could only go to one person only, and it's Daniel Gorringe, aka Carlton's downfall. If I hear that man one more time at half time say it's ours or we're going to get a win here, I'm going to lose my shit. Every week, without doubt, I blame him for losing because he chirps and it just it comes to a point where you should just, Goz, zip it, put your schnoz closed. Goz, shut your schnoz. I'm going to get that trending. Goz, shut your schnoz.
Also, where's the throat awareness? I have some throat awareness this week, but he doesn't now.
Mm-hmm. If I see him at a game, I'm just going to have to just tell him the truth. But that is our Melon of the Week.
But can we actually start an official beef with Dan Does Footy?
No, because I like Big Ollie.
Oh, sorry.
I like Dan at times. He's a Carlton supporter. I like him. We're not going to start beefing.
Okay, just Dan.
Let's get a bit bigger, then we'll start beefing.
Okay,
now on to one of my favourite segments I get to do each week. Each week I collect a top 5 list of something that intrigues me this week. It's called Peb's 5. So Peb's 5 this week is events to watch at the Olympics. Right now, I've been watching a lot of the Olympics, staying up late at night, and there have been some events that just capture my eyes. I'd like to give some honourable mentions before we start. I'd like to honour shooting and the Turkish guy for raw dogging the shooting event. Phenomenal. Table tennis, always good to see. Just phenomenal table tennis.
Best.
Swim medley relay. I think it's just a bit of fun to watch. And the cycling BMX freestyle. That's really fun to watch that racing. But we're not looking at some of the big events that everyone likes. I'm looking at some of the niche ones that we only get to see once every 4 years. Like you wouldn't watch out of Olympic years. But when it's on, God, it's phenomenal. Number 5, race walking.
Best.
Race walking, I don't know how to explain it. It's like they're running and they're moving the speed of a runner, but they're not running.
Do you not remember going through PE during high school and they'd make you do race walking? And you have to do the whole hips like bang, bang,
it's
bang,
phenomenal
bang.
How fast they move. Like they did the 20Ks in almost sub 2 hours. Like how are your knees not in agony? And it's phenomenal. Like you're moving like you're like a dancer. You look at the cha-cha-cha. It's phenomenal.
It's pretty good.
It's very good. Number 4, the 100 metre sprint. I think that's it's what I think defines the Olympics. Everyone knows the Olympics, the major events, 100 metre sprint. Usain Bolt made it famous. It's a phenomenal event to watch. And I think it's the one, it's like what we call the Melbourne Cup. It's the race that stops the world, not the nation, it's the world. It's phenomenal. And congratulations to Noah Lyles for winning that. Now we're coming to my 3 favourites. We're going to go the C1, K1 sprint. The canoe and kayak slalom down the rafts. That is phenomenal to watch. The endurance and the way they get down the little rapids. Oh, magnifique. It's beautiful to watch. Like, they're going down the raft and it's just, they're turning, they're going backwards against the rapids. It's like, it's a whole new world.
You made fun of me for speaking with French nuffiness.
Of what? Now to my 2 favourite. These are probably the 2 that I always love. And I was talking to another friend of ours who's an Olympic nuffy, and I got into watching this sport. Handball. Handball is like, the best way to explain it is netball, football, and basketball all combined in one. And it is phenomenal. The brutality that's involved, that you just hit each other, the way they move down the court, the small court, it's phenomenal to watch. And if you see some of the footage, the ball is like glue. Like they put so much sticky stuff on it. Don't take it out of context. But so much like grippo on it. And they're just phenomenal.
But have you seen that, like the TikToks of people who are actual handballers? They will try all the different things you can get for handball. And there's 40 million things you can try using a handball to make it grippier.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And the way they score, you watch them go into the semicircle, where it's almost the penalty zone where you're not allowed into, and they'll jump into it and then almost spin the ball or trick the goalkeeper and get it in. And it's a high scoring affair normally. The games normally go into 20 and 30 points. It's that fun to watch. But my number 1, and we've touched on it earlier, I'm been obsessing over it, water polo.
It's so
My
good.
God, that is fun to watch. You're in the water, your legs must be dying, and you're punching on with the opposition almost. It's a wrestle to get a ball into the net. It's pretty much handball, but in the water. It's phenomenal. I don't watch water polo very often, but the Olympics, I haven't missed an Australian game yet. It's phenomenal to watch.
I always love when it comes up, you're not really paying attention to the Olympics, and then you'll see on your screen, you'll see a swimming pool, and you go, oh, is it swimming again? And you'll see the ball, and you go, oh my God, I want to watch this so badly.
I reckon the best thing is seeing the camera underwater and seeing the legs pumping and just kicking each other, and the way they just move. It's phenomenal. It's it makes the Olympics because again, like I said, you don't watch these events off Olympic years, but when it comes to the Olympics, you're like, oh, this is the best sport in the world, and it's all you need. You can't be watching it. If you watch it every week, you might let's get boring and all that. It's just that sort of that aura it has. Every 4 years, you're going to sit down and watch it. It's phenomenal to watch.
It's great.
But that's the Pebs 5 for today.
Now, before we do start this segment, let's quickly say, gamble responsibly. That's our legal obligations done, isn't it? Anyway, Nuffies Multi. We do a multi each week, and we do a long-winded responsibility ad beforehand. And now we are going to go for a game. Sydney versus Collingwood. A game that could define both these teams' seasons. If Sydney lose, they fall off the top spot if Brisbane win.
Correct.
And if Collingwood win, we are still in finals contention.
I think you got that wrong because you said if Sydney lose and then Collingwood win.
No, I'm going through the scenarios.
And then you switch it around.
Yeah.
Au revoir.
Well, Sydney, if they win, they're still top.
Sydney win, they finish top. If Sydney lose, they can drop. If Collingwood win, keeps them alive in finals. If Collingwood lose, I think that's season over.
Yeah, we're still in contention, but we'd have to have so much go our way.
Be a phenomenal comeback.
Now, we're going to start off. You are doing the Sydney legs this week.
Yes, I had a look at some of the multis. We normally use Neds because Ned's the only one who normally come out. Please sponsor us. I want some money from Neds, please. But I had a look at someone who's been in a lot of fine form. I think he's not guaranteed, but I think he's going to put on a really good effort. I don't think Collingwood have anyone who's going to tag him because they've got more other people to worry about. Errol Goulden for 30 plus disposals, paying $1.94. He's paying some good money there.
Now, if you want to keep going with disposals, Jack Crisp for 20. With a goalie out, he is going to be playing more midfield minutes, playing that bull role that I mentioned beforehand. So at 20 disposals, that's $1.35.
Very good. I think Sydney are due for a big goal fest after 2 weeks of low scoring affairs, and I think that's going to come from Will Hayward. So we've got Will Hayward for 2+ goals, paying $1.90.
Now, the hyphen, Hoskin Elliott, had a great game last week. Obviously got some Modal Medal votes if you were paying attention. But he has been in goal scoring form all year, and I don't think this game will be any different. Hosk to get a goal is $1.44.
And as much as I hate to say, as much as we hate the Yanks, we're going to put one goal scorer, anytime goal scorer, for Mason Cox, paying $1.62. He's going to be flying the flag with the eagle. He's going to get up in the air. He's going to kick a goal, try and start a punch with someone, then fall on the ground.
You really don't understand how physics work, mate.
I do. He just couldn't beat Nick Newman.
Anyway, the whole multi added up equals at 5 legs, $12.72. And remember always to gamble responsibly.
Some very good value there. You can get some very good money on there. Make sure always gamble responsibly, like Jonty said. But if you want to put a bit of money on it, it can get you a bit of money, put it straight in the pokies.
Don't use the pokies. They're overstimulating according to our mate. So
I might go there tonight, actually. I'm now feeling like pokies.
No, don't do that. And anyway, that's the end of the episode for this week. No pokies. Anyway, that was good.
Good episode. One thing I've learned out of that is I never want to face Collingwood again.
I think you want to face them every year twice.
I'm not looking forward to next year. But thank you very much for joining us. Again, catch us on the socials on Instagram and TikTok, and obviously on YouTube and Spotify for the show.
Now, we didn't actually do our names at the start.
Yeah, we did.
Did we? We didn't.
If we didn't, my name is Ethan Stone.
And I'm Jonty Perry.
Au revoir.
Oh, God.